The following program is presented by the HTM Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of Turnbuckle Talk in partnership with thechairshot.com, presented by the Hitting the Marks Podcast Network and in association with NDPW.com. Turnbuckle Talk is sponsored by collarandelbowbrand.com, where you get 10% off when using promo code JKPodcast. Turnbuckle Talk is also partnered with Phoenix at FNXFit.com, where you get 15% off all your health supplements simply by using promo code TBTalkPod. Follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching at TB Talk Pod. Listen on Podbean, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere you catch your favorite programs. And now, pro wrestling fanatics, are you ready? Here are your hosts, Mighty Joe Morin and Karl Karufel.
All right, guys, Mighty Joe and Karl Karufel back here on Turnbuckle Talk, episode 197. Looking forward to this episode. There's some cool stuff to talk about here. And we should have our friend Mr. Ryan K. Bowman from Sportskeeda on as well. But I mean, he's a busy guy working for Sportskeeda, so hopefully he'll be able to get on here. But for the first topic of this, actually, no, before we get to the topics here, Karl, just kind of update on the past week, how things been going up there.
No, everything is same as usual. Nothing really new to say, nothing really new to do. Just snow. Snow happened today. That was started last night and happened today. And we've got a bit of an accumulation of snow that has happened. But I mean, other than that, yeah. Day by day, my friend. Day by day.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a little bit of snow a little while ago, but we've gone back to just kind of, we're just hovering above the freezing temperature, sort of, and then dipping below it at nighttime. But I have a feeling probably in the next week or so we might be looking at some of the white stuff here in southern Ontario where I'm at. So I think it's just a matter of time too. And just kind of same as you, kind of taking things one day at a time, still dealing with this pandemic, so to speak, and just getting anxious and just waiting for that to all come to an end.
2 nights ago it was minus 12.
Wow.
Which, I mean, isn't too bad, especially for Northern Ontario, considering it's already into December. We're looking mid-December, and this is really the first accumulation of snow that we've gotten this year. So yeah. I'm happy with that. If we happen to have a green Christmas, I'm okay with that too. Yeah. What do we got on the docket today, Joe?
Well, first up, on a bit of a sad note, I'll pull up the graphic for us here. We're talking Mr. Tiny Lister. Probably in the wrestling world, you would remember him as Zeus. Kind of some epic feuds with Hulk Hogan and whatnot. For myself, I mean, obviously I still think of that part, but I think kind of in the movie side of things, I mean, when I think Mr. Lister, I think, he was one of the convicts on the Dark Knight when they were on the ship and deciding whether to kind of blow things up. And he was the one that threw the remote control of the window. That was him. And I think too, from the Fifth Element, he was the president of pretty much of the United States or of the planet Earth. Another kind of major role there too. So that's what I think when I think Mr. Tiny Lister. But I mean, in the wrestling business, I mean, he had a pretty larger than life kind of presence.
He definitely did. I mean, especially you go into that type of a business with the name Zeus.
Yeah.
Of course, you're gonna get notoriety, obviously, from something like that. Like Zeus that's a pretty big, powerful name. So to have that moniker as you're going into the world of professional wrestling, bloody fantastic, my man. Bloody fantastic. And I mean, was he the greatest wrestler of all time? No, but he had that presence to him. He had that size to him. He had that look. He had that like he could put on that mean face.
Yep.
Right? And as you see in this photo here, he's got that great smile to him too. He's fantastic, fun-loving. But in that wrestling ring, he could put on that mean mugging, ugly face and really sell what he was doing, and it was just fantastic. And for him to be able to transition from professional wrestling to film to TV to actor, movies personality, like fantastic.
Yep, I mean he made a very successful transition from wrestling over to Hollywood. Some notable movies, like I said, Dark Knight, Fifth Element, and that's just a couple off the top of my head. He did it very, very well. And like I said, my biggest takeaway from him in wrestling was just that he had that larger than life presence, which is sorely lacking in the majority of professional wrestling these days. I mean, he just looked at him, like you mentioned Zeus. I mean, that's like I believe in Greek mythology, he's like what, the god of thunder or god of lightning. I mean, just wow. I mean, that's how cool a gimmick is that, right?
Oh, exactly. I mean, that like I said, I mean, I don't know what more I could say about that. Like, that was just, that was powerful. Yeah. And, I mean, you kind of mentioned it to today's, right? And you're right. A lot of that is lacking. I think maybe the best that we might have in that type of a situation is the Fiend character, that kind of over the top, but type of powerful character that really kind of grips you, especially being able to kind of work on that mic, and then have the whole Bray Wyatt Fiend differences that are going on there, and being able to work it. And I mean that's about the only one that I can really think of in today's world of professional wrestling that kind of has that character.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, going from that to some WWE stuff here, this is one that when this came up, this is one that I had to sit down and talk to our friend Michael Jargo, and he had to kind of talk me off the ledge, strangely enough, on this topic. But I'll pull up our graphic here. We're talking about Mr. Keith Lee being sent down to the Performance Center to basically to tighten things up. Vince feels like he's not that really great in the ring. I mean, just Karl, when I saw this, and of course the graphic is courtesy of our friends over at Sportskeeda, but this was one that really kind of, I saw it. I was really kind of weirded out by it. It was strange. I was like, wow, Vince just doesn't see what everybody else sees in Keith Lee at this point.
I'm going to sum it up this way.
Yeah.
Vince has lost it. I mean, really?
Yeah.
Really? Keith Lee comes in, and I mean, like, he's limitless. He has that whole moniker going about him, and the guy definitely is. And I mean, sure, maybe he needs to tighten up a little bit with different things, but it's not as though he's Nia Jax sloppy.
Oh no,
right? And I mean, the guy has that presence. Mm-hmm. He's got that size to him. He can work in that ring. He can work with absolutely anybody, whether it's a big guy like a Braun Strowman to a small guy like a Rey Mysterio. He can work with all of them, and has shown that and proven that. And now we're going to send him back down to the Performance Center. I think, unfortunately, when Keith Lee came up to the main roster, it was doomed from the beginning. Especially from Vince's mind, having him wear a shirt or wear, a singlet or something because he was too fat, apparently, from what Vince was saying. So, I mean, unfortunately, I can understand this if it's coming from Vince. Yeah. Because Vince just seems to have had a little bit of a hate on for Keith Lee since the beginning.
See, one of the other names too that I'm hearing being sent down to the Performance Center to get better, quote unquote, your boy Otis is on that short list as well. Him being sent down there. Now with the Keith Lee thing, like I said, earlier today, I did chat quite extensively with our friend Michael Jargo from the Hitting the Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast and Destino about this, and he kind of gave me a response I wasn't expecting, because he's kind of on the other side of this here, Karl, and he's telling me that essentially the reason why that this is being done is to get him more used to working the WWE style, which is very much, especially right now, given what we're going through and how this is shot and filmed and presented, of really catering more towards the camera than, Keith's used to performing for an audience there in person, right? So I have a feeling that it's not so much the actual wrestling aspect of things, it's working that WWE style, which is mugging for that camera as much as possible.
I get that.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. That's I mean, still, I think it's pretty unfortunate, considering like you could really run some good stuff with Keith Lee.
Well, sure you can.
And then even you mentioned Otis as well, being one of those names that are probably back down in NXT. They've been doing great stuff with Otis right now. So I'm not understanding what the problem is there.
Yeah.
You know, they had the Money in the Bank contract, and then this program with the Miz, and then like it's been good. I've enjoyed it. So it's really odd to me that they've decided that they need to take people that are in pretty substantial storylines on television right now, especially when your television ratings are hurting and nobody's watching, right? To bring them down there instead of trying to build on the stories that you actually have going right now, instead of just kiboshing everything and then just shooting people back down to NXT. I mean, right? Jesus.
And the problem is compounded too by not only people like us who do podcasts about professional wrestling and report about it, but the fans are privy to this information too, which like I mentioned, compounds the problem, right? So we know that these are people that the fans like, and now they're also in on the fact that we don't necessarily believe in them, but we have to go and tighten things up with them and blah blah blah, and just it's man, it sucks because these guys know how to work in that ring. At the same time, too, I do see Jargo's point here that Keith isn't necessarily used to working that camera. He's used to working, and this is a thing in New Japan as well. We might even get into that a little bit, to where that is really more kind of, the camera just kind of follows kind of what's going on. It's not like they have these rigid kind of things. And it feels more kind of organic at that point. So with WWE, just it's like, okay, we need to have the camera here for this and the camera here for this. It's so planned out that, man, it sucks, especially for a guy like Keith Lee. Because he has all the talent and the ability in the world to be a bad guy or a good guy, and it feels like we're farting around with him, and I don't like it. Yeah. I don't like it, man. And honestly, NXT might just be the best place for him to be.
And you mentioned New Japan, so you bring that up and how New Japan does it with the camera following them. That comes down to professional wrestling versus entertainment.
Yep.
Once again, that entertainment word is striking with force right now when it comes to these guys that are out there, and especially with this whole play to the camera type of situation.
Yeah.
That's the entertainment side of it, which I find even more weird, because when I think entertainment, I think television, I think movies, right? Those people aren't playing to cameras. The cameras are following them.
Yeah.
Right? Television shows, the cameras are following them. Movies, I've seen different things on how movies are done and how movies are made, and it's very intricate.
Oh yeah,
with the with the whole rigging systems and like having to move things. If there's like they're running beside a train, let's say, or whatever, the camera is moving and following. Standing, Vince's want to play to the cameras. Maybe during this time when there's no fans that are in there, I get that. Maybe, kind of look at the camera a little bit more there. But, other than that, have the cameras follow them around. Have your hard cam, definitely have that, because that can make for some great shots.
Sure.
Especially, a nice, good high fly move over the top rope or something, right? Can make for good action shot.
Yep.
But have the cameras following them. We need to stop with this play to the camera crap.
a good example to rewind back a little bit to, because this just came to mind. Remember when I can't remember if it was on Raw or SmackDown, when Batista came back, and then they showed him going in and dragging Ric Flair out from his locker room, and it was actually a really cool moment and really well done. The only thing there that like we're saying, that why was there? It looked like there was like a cameraman already kind of filming it there. What they should have done is just have used, the guy that Batista was dragging to that locker room with the camera. They should have just used him, and it would have felt so real, because that's the only thing that kept that from feeling like it was, oh, this is happening for legit. Was that there was already a cameraman there shooting what is going to be happening, right? So it kept it from feeling really real. And
yes.
Yeah, it's tough, and I get it. I think we're at a tipping point almost with WWE. It's like, okay, you know what? Are we going to totally abandon the whole pro wrestling aspect of things here, or we're just going to go straight to entertainment? And if that's the case, we'll just go to these pre-done things, like the Boneyard match and this kind of stuff. Just go to totally heavily produced stuff if you're going to go that way, because doing this in between stuff, I really think it's really damaging them long term, and the ratings kind of tell the tale here that it's you're trying to do both things at the same time, and you're just not doing either one of them well at this point.
Yeah, very much so. You're right.
Yeah.
You're definitely right.
Do one or the other. I would pitch more for kind of the sports presentation, but Vince will never go for that. So you might as well just totally embrace the entertainment aspect at this point. At least that's kind of my take on things. An interesting one here, Karl. I'll pull up the graphic on this as well here. Now we're talking Mr. Mauro Ranallo has expressed that he would like to get back into wrestling commentary again. I don't know about this one, man. I guess as long as it's not the rigorous schedule of the WWE, it'll be okay. I mean, just given that he's had issues before, it's a little puzzling to me that he'd be willing to kind of dive into the deep end again. Because we know that there's some issues with depression and whatnot, and he kind of tends to get overwhelmed, which is really bizarre when you look at him. When he's not necessarily in character, but when he's doing his thing, like he's like one of the most energetic and powerful commentators in the business. And then you find out there's this kind of really dark aspect of him. It's kind of odd, but it puzzles me given the issues that he's been going through, that he'd be kind of willing to get back into again. Maybe more of like an MLW or a Ring of Honor capacity would maybe be better. But for like a major promotion, I feel maybe it'd be a little too much for him.
I think so as well. When it comes to Mauro Ranallo, when he is in his element, he is spot on.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He definitely is. Now that he isn't in that element, I think that maybe that's playing on him a little bit, right? I mean, if you're doing something that you love to do, and that kind of keeps you grounded a little bit, right? And then all of a sudden it's gone, and you don't have that anymore, right? You need that.
Yeah.
You need to have that grounding in your life. You need to have that aspect of being able to have that release of doing something that you love and enjoy. Yep. And without that being there, he's expressed that he wants to get back into professional wrestling commentary. Yep. Right? So clearly that shows us that he is not doing any right now, whether it's for any type of indie promotion or big promotion. So I think that that's what it's boiling down to, is that it's really playing on him, and that he's feeling maybe him slipping back into these these dark places and depression issues that he's had before, and needs something to give that happiness back to him.
Exactly. I mentioned even in the graphic, you can see like when he gets into it, he gets into it. Like he's up out of his chair, and he is very animated. And just recently, for those who aren't aware, the Tyson Roy Jones Jr. event that they did, he did commentary for basically that entire show. They had Snoop Dogg and some other people on there. It was actually pretty well done in that aspect. And I think doing that, he kind of got that taste again, and I think that's kind of rekindled his interest. Having said that, now, if he wants to get into the professional wrestling aspect of things, where would you like to see him go if you had to pick?
A small promotion.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned MLW. I think that would be great. OVW would be another good one. I think that OVW is really starting to build some ground, especially with all the stuff that they're doing on YouTube and all their shows that they've got out on YouTube. I think that bringing in a name like Mauro Ranallo with that voice and that passion that he has, definitely that would only be an asset to somebody like MLW or OVW and help them grow even bigger than they are right now. Okay, I'm going to put this out here to you, Joe.
Yeah.
If Mauro Ranallo announces that he is going to be calling action for Chikara, are you going to watch Chikara?
Yeah, I'd check it out
Because
again.
Mauro's there?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely I would.
So if
Absolutely I
Mauro
would.
says, wherever he says he's going, are you going to go and watch that because of him?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So if somebody's going to go and watch a program based on who the commentary person is, and that commentary person is Mauro Ranallo, you're set.
Yeah.
Pull that name in.
Yep.
Use that name to be straight up with Mauro and say, listen, you are going to be on commentary and we would love to have you. And the reason why we would love to have you is because we know you know what you're doing and you can help build numbers and pull people in. That's what we want. Are you willing to help us out and do that?
Yeah.
Be straight up and honest with him, because that's, I feel, I don't know 100%, but I feel that is something that Mauro Ranallo needs. He really needs to have that transparency within any type of situation and contract that he decides to get into. So as long as people are open and transparent with their intentions when it comes to Mauro, I think we're going to have a fantastic partnership wherever he goes. But yeah, MLW, OVW, one of these smaller promotions that could use a name like Mauro, not use in a bad way, use in a good way.
Yep.
I would be happy to see any of that.
For myself, I'm definitely in agreement. I would build on it a little bit, and given the landscape of how things are outside of WWE, with people crossing over potentially and all these partnerships, I'd like to see Mauro just kind of freelance. I want to see him show up in MLW. I want to see him show up in Chikara, Impact, Ring of Honor. If I didn't mention them, AEW, New Japan, just go where things kind of take you. I'd like to see him kind of all over the place. Like I said, given kind of this potential of everybody kind of crossing over, you have a guy that can kind of do that in the commentary role. Absolutely. That's what I'd want to see. Just show up, him in like Don Callis or him in JR again. You have some really cool possibilities there, and I said, it would just be cool, because I mean the guy's kind of just a draw in himself. So like you mentioned, where he kind of goes, people especially like ourselves are going to want to watch because Mauro's on commentary.
Yeah, we're gonna follow. Yeah, we're gonna
Absolutely.
go where he goes. Yeah.
All right, man. I want to. Speaking of AEW, I did mention them there. I want to talk a little bit about Sting again here, and I'm going to kind of pull up the graphic. And I don't want to be too negative on this, because I thought, especially last week, his promo work I thought was kind of excellent, kind of setting things going up forward. The only issue that I kind of see here, Karl, is that 2 weeks ago, we changed world champions. Kenny Omega's the world champion, but Sting is stealing the spotlight here. Now, I understand, bringing Sting in is a big draw. I mean, Sting is a legitimate star still, a huge draw in the business. But, it kind of totally overshadowed kind of what happened. They literally they changed their world champion, and people aren't talking about it. They're talking about Sting still. So I get, that's cool, but I have a feeling it's almost kind of damaging in itself here, Karl. What do you think?
I think you're right. Definitely. I'm in agreement with that. It seems as though, I mean, sure, we had Kenny Omega show up on Impact, and we got a little bit of a taste of that, like it was cool.
Yep.
Everything was good, right? But then we haven't heard nothing more about it. We haven't heard anything about, hey, are there going to be more stars? Is somebody from Impact now going to show up on AEW? Like, nothing. Everything has been Sting. And seems to be revolving around Sting and Darby Allin, the TNT champion. So are we in AEW now making the TNT championship more valuable than the AEW championship? That's kind of how it feels, and how I'm seeing things right now is that the focus is now the TNT championship, and who gives a shit about the AEW championship, because, well, it's just going anywhere it wants anyways, right?
See, you brought up a word that kind of fits perfectly in this. You mentioned the word focus. Focus. And I hate to be kind of critical here, but I think I have to be at this point, is that I think that is a bit of an issue that AEW has right now, is that they lack focus. Similar to kind of what Impact is doing, it's like they're kind of all over the place. They're trying to do a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this. I likened it to, again, now this is part of the conversation I had with Jargo earlier today, as we were mentioning this, comparing especially AEW to New Japan. They want to work together here, but they're so far apart from each other. AEW and Impact are kind of like a restaurant that does like 2,000 things kind of good. And then you have New Japan, who does 20 things really, really, really good. So it's like a restaurant that doesn't know kind of what it is. And then you go to like that really, really good mom and pop restaurant where they just have a little short menu, but every dish is fantastic, right? That is, I think, kind of what's going on here. I think AEW's still kind of lost, and they haven't really found who they are yet. And I get it, we're still in the transition period. We're still learning. Yeah. But I mean, these guys need to kind of define who they are. At this point.
I think AEW has ADHD.
It really does feel like that,
right?
It really does feel like that,
because they're focused on this thing for a bit, and then shiny, and then they're focused over here, and then Sting, and then they're focused over here, and then new championship, and then they're focused over here, and it seems to be very quick and abrupt, different changes when it comes to that, and it's. Sometimes even for me, who's been a lifelong professional wrestling fan, and somebody who has been in the business and done numerous different things, even I get dizzy. Going, wow, we're all over the map here right now, and
and it's a shame, because like these individual things in themselves are cool. Like if you were to just kind of take that out and just kind of remove it and just watch that for what it is, good. But I mean, when it's all kind of lumped together and there's no flow kind of going through the whole thing, just it's a little jarring, especially for somebody like me who watches New Japan Pro Wrestling, where it's presented kind of like a sporting event where things just kind of go with a bit of a flow. And just AEW, it's like, AEW television, we kick off with the Young Bucks versus whoever, spot fest all over the place, and then something completely different after that, and something completely after that. Just there's nothing kind of tying it all kind of together, and just it's a little. It can be exhausting to watch 2 hours of it can be more exhausting watching 2 hours of All Elite Wrestling as opposed to 3 hours of a New Japan show, where it just kind of flows through and you lose track of time, and it's like, oh wow, 3 hours went by. Right. So that's the difference. That's the difference. And I don't necessarily mean to shit on AEW by any means, but they need to find that flow, and they need to find out what their identity is.
Yes.
All right, man. Let us take a bit of a brief break here and hear from our friends over at collarandelbowbrand.com, and we are going to come back after the break and talk a little bit about Wrestlemania.
Fall is in the air. That means pumpkin spice lattes. That means pumpkin spice everything. Ugg boots, yoga pants. God, I hope I can fit into mine this season. Scarves. And baseball tees. Hoodies! Not yet, but soon. The metal tee. No need for any cease and desist here. And hats. Stop by collarandelbowbrand.com today and get your fall drop immediately. It's fall, y'all.
Collar and
elbowbrand.com.
You'll be the coolest person in Starbucks whether you're wearing yoga pants and Ugg boots or not. In fact, I like to go to Starbucks without the bottoms on all the time and just wear my collar and elbow brand type shirts. I immediately get my coffee and go.
All right, Mighty Joe and Karl Karufel back here on Turnbuckle Talk. I love that commercial, and I still get that image has been permanently etched in my brain forever here, Karl. Mr. Al Snow in Starbucks, not wearing pants and able to get his drink quicker than everybody else just by that fact. Right. I can't see anybody else being able to pull that off, honestly.
So we do have to mention as well that that commercial is a couple of years old,
it is,
to be honest with you. So there are hoodies that are available
yep.
at collarandelbowbrand.com. As you see scrolling in the ticker down below, if you visit collarandelbowbrand.com, use our promo code JKPodcast, you're going to get 10% off your entire purchase, whether that's brand new, doesn't matter. So go and check them out. We do get a little bit of a kickback for that, which does help to pay for the StreamYard broadcast. Thank you, StreamYard. Especially all of the wonderful new things that they have been doing. They've been adding in some really great stuff, and soon they're going to be adding in integration for like a Stream Deck, which is going to be fantastic if we can maybe get our hands on one to be able to transition through things a little bit easier. But they've been adding in a whole world of great stuff to StreamYard, and they just keep building and building and building. And thank you to the team over at StreamYard for this platform for us to bring you guys our podcast.
Yes, absolutely. All right, man, let us shift over to some more WWE talk here, and we are talking about WrestleMania 37. Now, it's interesting because if you go online and just kind of Google WrestleMania 37 or WrestleMania 2021, you're going to still see a lot of banners for the WrestleMania Hollywood deal, and that is not where WrestleMania is going to take place. It is going to take place at Raymond James Stadium in Florida. And what do you think here, Karl? This is a big outdoor venue. Are we going to be able to get some fans in attendance live in person for this thing? I think that we need to at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we need to. Yeah, definitely. I mean, considering the last WrestleMania that happened, last WrestleMania was very different. It definitely was. Yeah. Was it a total shit show?
No,
I don't think so. It was actually done very well.
Yeah.
But if they're planning on doing this at a stadium like this, I think it's going to be okay for them to have limited fans. So in a huge stadium like that, you're able to follow any social distancing requirements that are put into place by the state.
Yep.
Masks, all of that bull crap that they're making everybody do and go through. And it's big enough that you'll be able to space people out. Now, I don't know if you know, because I don't, but do you know how many people the stadium can hold?
That is a great question here, Karl. And if you want to keep going a little bit, I'll actually hit up the Google machine and find out the capacity for Raymond James Stadium here. Sure,
sounds good. Yeah. With the stadium itself, with the amount of people that it can hold, right? So I mean, it's if you take that number of the amount of people that it can hold, divide that number by 6, let's say, for 6 feet apart, okay, and then you'll kind of be able to get a rough idea of possibly how many people you can have in that stadium. Now that probably will differ because they're probably going to offer like family packages, usually a family pack of 4 tickets.
Yep.
And then you're all going to be in one area, right? So with the what have you, right? And that's probably what they're going to be doing. And if they're smart about things, that's what they would do. They would kind of offer those family packages to be able to keep the family together in one section, and then 6 feet away you're going to have another set of 4 or whatever, right?
So yeah, for Raymond James Stadium, we're looking at a capacity of just over 65,000. So I mean, obviously we're not going to get to that number. I don't think that we should even go half. Even if you have a quarter of that with people spread out, at least then, we have some semblance of a wrestling crowd or an audience or however you want to kind of word it. For WrestleMania, I mean, this is the big show of the year. We need to get back to at least some people in the crowd here, man. We need to do this. Japan, they ran, I can't, the Budokan, and for the end of World Tag League here, and I mean, they weren't at capacity, but I mean, they had a good sized crowd there. I mean, Japan has gone about things the right way over there, and we need to start kind of working our way back. I mean, I know we're here in Canada; it's a little easy to speak about the United States. I know Florida's a bit of a hot zone, so to speak, but I mean, we need to start working our way towards that, and getting people to get them out doing stuff to get back to normality here, at least a little bit.
65,000 people in that stadium you could still allow 10,000.
Sure.
And be safe.
Yep.
Right?
No, I agree.
And even for on the floor, right? Ringside.
Yep.
Okay, make ringside 10 feet back. Put those front row seats 10 feet back.
You have tons of space to
Right?
work with. Tons of space.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, could they fit 10,000? Yeah, they probably
Yeah.
could fit 10,000 people in there. Are they going to get 10,000 people to buy tickets?
Probably not.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
they definitely will.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because that's the people want to go out and do things.
Yep.
Right? And then if okay, cool, I get to see WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And it's going to be a little bit more personal, I guess you could say, because
Yep.
there's not going to be 65,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
There's only going to be 10,000 people.
Right.
So,
And the other reason why I think that they need to go that route, I mean, we can't, given that this is a big outdoor venue, I mean, it's not the biggest outdoor venue out there, but it's big enough. We can't do this Thunderdome thing on the outdoor. We can't have, given this is there's no roof on this place, we can't have a bunch of screens out there, because there's always the potential, especially in Florida, of some weather happening. So I've been down there, and weather can come and go very abruptly. So I think that very quickly, and we need to at least between 5,000 to 10,000 people at least to make this look like a wrestling show again. We need to.
Yeah. No, like 10,000.
Yeah.
Definitely. 10,000 is easily doable.
Yep, I think that's a fair
in
number.
an arena of 60,000 people. Actually, working out some math, it actually works out to about 10,889 people. So you take out those 889 and leave that for staff, workers, production, all of that stuff. 10,000 people, easily doable.
Yep.
And will they get the tickets sold? They'll sell quick.
Oh yeah,
They
absolutely. Oh, I agree. All right, man. Before we get to our match of the week segment here, let me make sure I get this. Let's do a little bit of breaking news. All right, so for breaking news here, I hope I'm not stealing your idea if you have one on deck here, but
I got one.
Okay.
That's yeah.
I'll let you go first then. That way, if it ends up being my idea, then I can kind of switch it on the fly.
Does your idea have to do with New Japan Pro Wrestling?
It does not.
Perfect. There we go
Okay.
then. New Japan Pro Wrestling Super J Cup 2020. For those of you who don't know and have not seen, go and take a look at a guy called El Fantasmo. El Fantasmo won the Super Junior Cup, the Super J Cup, for a second straight year. They really need to build on this now and really make El Fantasmo a household name. Please.
Interesting that you've said that here, Karl, because at the end of the Best of Super Juniors, which was won by Hiromu Takahashi, he said that he wants to take on the winner of the Super J Cup. So we're talking at Wrestle Kingdom as well. So it looked like it should be, if things go the way he said, Hiromu Takahashi versus El Fantasmo at Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, I'd be in for that here, Karl.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And that is not the last that we're going to hear of Hiromu Takahashi on the show, just to give you a little bit of a spoiler there, kind of, a little hint. The breaking news that I want to kind of get to involves Mr. Eric Bischoff AEW and Mr. Bully Ray. Eric Bischoff saying that AEW should sign Bully Ray to AEW and that they would benefit greatly from him being over there. This, again, here, Karl, brings up the greater issue with AEW is that we're just all over the place here. And I think bringing in somebody who's like a complete other element again, I think just adds more to the confusion and just the chaos kind of going on there. I like Bully Ray, don't get me wrong, but just we're too scatterbrained over there still. And we need to find out which direction we're kind of going, and if that's going to fit it, then great. Go with then bring in Bully Ray. I'm not against bringing him in. Just first, we need to find out who we are before we go down that road.
Now, you keep talking about finding out who they are and stuff like that. Do you think that maybe this is them trying to?
Maybe
by pulling in guys like Taz, pulling in Sting, pulling in Jake Roberts, pulling in Bully Ray.
Yep, it could be.
Right? That's how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it as maybe they're trying to take the knowledge that these guys have and really pull it in so that they can figure out the best way for things. Do I want to see Bully Ray over in AEW? No, I really don't.
Yeah.
I love Bully Ray. Awesome guy, great worker, has done so much in the business, has a beautiful knowledge of the business well. But I don't want to see him over in AEW. I want him to stay right where he is and just do that.
And I would agree, because I don't know about you, but my favorite version of Bully Ray is not necessarily the over the top uncensored Bully Ray, but just the Bully Ray that doesn't have to be confined by necessarily what the censors won't allow him to kind of say. That just kind of let Bully Ray out and go out and be Bully Ray, like, oh, he kicked me in the balls or something like that. He can't. Right. He probably wouldn't be able to say that on TNT and with AEW or WWE for that matter. So. Yeah, I think that's kind of the issue. Is I don't think that he would really get to be "quote unquote" Bully Ray necessarily if he were to go over there, because we're not PG over there, but we're the TV 14 over there. So maybe they could do a little bit of it, but it would feel kind of watered down, I think, honestly.
Yep, you're right.
So cool, but honestly, I like the Ring of Honor side of things, and then I'd even like to see him kind of go over and do some stuff with New Japan, do some stuff with Juice or whatnot. I think that would kind of work really well there too. Have him kind of screw with those guys, given that they're North Americans as well. All right, let me pull up our graphic here. Match of the week. All right, here, Karl, as usual, let us kind of figure out how we're going to do here. Do you want to go first this week, or do you want me to go first? You want me to go first? All right. So for mine, I'm actually going to pull up a graphic here for mine. And my match of the week is actually coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and we had mentioned him here earlier here, Karl. And my match of the week was the final for the Best of Super Juniors, El Desperado versus Hiromu Takahashi. Where do I start with this, man? Where do I start with this? This is honestly, for how long has it been now that Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn at NXT was my favorite match for the longest time? Well, Karl, we have a new champion, because this is not only my match of this week, this is likely going to be my match of the year for this year, here, Karl. This was it's been a long time since I've been this invested in a match as I'm watching it. This is absolutely incredible. We even saw El Desperado getting unmasked, him essentially unmasking himself, and just the stare down with him as he's kind of doing it. Just the psychology and just the in-ring work this was not a perfect match. It didn't need to be perfect necessarily in the ring, but they did the in-ring work stuff was amazing too. But I did just everything, just the psychology and just the build up and the story and everything kind of going with this. Just it was absolutely fantastic. I don't really even know how to kind of put it into words. You just have to find a way to go watch this. I know you likely haven't seen this match here, Karl, but when you have a chance, I'll maybe I can even send you a way to watch it. But this is one that you have to watch, and our audience, our fans, our followers need to go and check out this match, because this was absolutely fantastic. This is a must watch.
Awesome.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, dude, I've actually watched it about 4 or 5 times already, and this happened on the 11th, and I'm probably going to go watch it a few more times.
Well, my pick this week is going to look like a steaming bag of dog crap.
I don't know, to each their own. I'm sure I'll
Yeah. Mine's coming from AEW Dark this week.
Okay.
It's coming from an unknown name,
Okay.
Louis Valley.
Interesting.
Versus Peter Avalon. Pretty Pete Avalon now, as he's being called. No more librarian gimmick. We talked about that last week, and how fantastic I think it is that Leva Bates is able to go and do her own thing and be that librarian. But now we're getting to see a little bit more of Peter Avalon. And Peter Avalon is actually, after leaving this whole librarian gimmick, is starting to get the big W. He is making more and more wins and pins when it comes to his matches in AEW. And for that reason alone, I am absolutely loving what is happening. The match itself was great as well. Really good back and forth going on between both competitors, Valley and Avalon, with Avalon coming out with the win there. I'm just fantastic. I mean, and I'm excited to see more now of Peter Avalon, and I hope that they really bring him over. Allow him on Dynamite and to really kind of grow and showcase what he can do over on Dynamite as well. Especially, and I'm talking maybe 4 or 5 weeks away. Let him continue to get these wins over on AEW Dark, their YouTube series that they do. Continue AEW Dark.
Yeah.
Win. And then you bring him over to Dynamite, and then what have you got? You have got background information. This guy went from being a librarian to being this pretty Peter Avalon, winning his ass off over on AEW Dark, and now let's see what he can do on Dynamite. It works. It definitely works. So there's mine. My pick, Louis Valley, Peter Avalon. Not a 10-star matchup by no means, but everything that's happening around it, I feel is being done right.
Awesome. I like the pick. I think Peter Avalon is a talent that kind of goes unnoticed in professional wrestling. I've seen some of his work in Wrestle Circus a little while ago, and when they came in and did the librarian thing with Leva Bates, I don't think that the two of them necessarily had the right kind of chemistry. So I think that's why they split them up, which I think is good for both of them. And I'm just glad that they're going with a different kind of character with him and not just trying to be like this other librarian still. So because I think that would compromise Leva's character. So and his. So giving him a chance to kind of do his own thing. Like I said, dude is he's a great worker in the ring, and just kind of let him do his thing and kind of see where it goes. Is he going to be a main event talent in contention for the world title? Absolutely not. But I mean, he's a good hand to have in that lower mid kind of card range. I mean, everybody's got their spot, and I think that's right where he fits in, and probably really good at putting some people over. So that's what I would do with Peter Avalon.
Yep. Good,
all right.
Good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Let us take another brief break here and hear from our friends over at thechairshot.com, and then we'll come back with our Showstopper segment.
Why should you visit thechairshot.com? Thechairshot.com is your home for hard-hitting reviews, news, opinion, and analysis with attitude. Why? Because you're smarter than the average fan. Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
All right, so like I mentioned, our friends are at thechairshot.com. We're syndicated over there, and even our friend Mr. Jim Phillips, I believe, does some work over there as well, and does some articles and whatnot, and of course Indie PW as well. You can find us over there as well as some of our other colleagues as well. All right, man, let us take no, we're not taking another break. We just took one. Let us do our Showstopper segment. All right, so for this week, we are going to talk about Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon in the Showstopper segment here. And I figured this graphic would be kind of fitting, kind of poking at Vince a little bit. But we're talking about, this is a topic that, we've talked about before. But just kind of given what we talked about at the top of the show here, I think that this is a good way to kind of bring it full circle and end off the episode on this here. We're talking about if Vince McMahon is still what's best for business, or is it time for him to finally step down here? And I think the handling, especially of this current crop of NXT talent that, and Cole is going to be in that conversation here shortly, just the way that he is handling them and not necessarily seeing what everybody else is seeing, I think is a sign that we're getting close here, Karl.
At the top of the program, when we first discussed a little bit of, Vince sending people back down to the Performance Center, or the Capitol Wrestling Center, as it's called now. Yep. Vince has lost it. Yeah. I mean, that's that's how it is portrayed. That is how I see it. Is that definitely true? I don't know, because I don't work with the guy on a daily basis. No. So I really don't know. But some of the judgment calls that he's been doing lately have kind of been a little questionable. Yep. When it comes to not only just performers, but just business sense as well. Yep. I don't know. I mean, because I don't work with the guy on a daily basis, because I really don't know his head and how he thinks and what's going on there, I really can't say a whole lot. But from my perspective, I can say that Vincent Kennedy McMahon has lost his frickin' marbles. Yep. And that maybe it is time for him to step down and allow someone else to come in. And if he's got to stay in the business, let him stay in like some advisement role, right? Like, let there be some advisement role or something like that happening. I'm cool with that. Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's time. It is time.
With Vince and myself here, don't get me wrong. I mean, the guy's a pioneer in the professional wrestling business. I mean, he took over from his dad and didn't run it like a petulant child. I mean, he brought professional wrestling to the masses. Brought it to television, brought it to kind of the mainstream consciousness. And I give Vince all the props in the world for that WrestleMania 1. Absolutely fantastic. Still a landmark moment in this business. But as time has progressed, Vince has been really, really stubborn to want to control everything that's going on. And you just, in a company this size, you can't do it all yourself. You need to delegate different aspects of the business to other people. Because, I mean, just like the last time when he gave his little speech for Undertaker, you could tell that he was just like, dude, that this guy has been through so much and is just still trying to go through the motions, and he is just exhausted. He is exhausted. And I think it really is time to, I would even say, the advisor role. I don't think you could even do that, because Vince is always going to want to have some control. He needs to fully hand things over to those that can kind of take over, and not just one person. You like I said, you delegate to a group of people. I think that just having one person kind of running things could be a little bit of a mistake, because then we could run into the same problem again in the future. So, yeah, it's a weird thing. Like I said, I give Vince all the props in the world for getting professional wrestling to where it is now. But, I mean, this is what can happen when somebody overstays their welcome for just far too long, I think. I think that's kind of the greater issue here.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that as well. You see, I don't think that Vince will ever really, until the day he dies, give up any control, or step back, or step down, or however you want to say it. That's why I say give him a dummy moniker of, give him just that placeholder of, advisor, right? Not necessarily that you have to go and, run absolutely everything by Vince. But if you've got something that is, good but could use a little bit more maybe, or you're just kind of like, hey, we need to go talk to Vince. We need to make sure that, he doesn't get pissed off thinking that we just kind of left him here. We better go and just ask him one of these questions or whatever. No. We're just going to do what we want anyways, but let's go make sure that, we make him happy. Right? Like, that type of a thing, right? And that way Vince still feels as though, he kind of has that control, still feels like he's part of it, and that he hasn't totally, because like you said, taking over from his dad, since WrestleMania 1, right? Even before then, when he took over, he has built, that is absolutely everything to him. And then to take all of that away, that's really hard. That would be so difficult, right? That's like taking, a lollipop from a kid that's been, licking that Tootsie Roll lollipop, trying to figure out how many licks it takes to get to the center of the of the Tootsie Pop, and then you just take that away, they're gonna throw a fit.
Well, see, there's a way that you can do it. Like, we don't have to go about it in a way to, we're kicking you out and then we're going to forget everything that you've done. I mean, I think that's where we need to change the mindset a little bit, is that we don't want to remove Vince and forget everything that he's done. We just need to realize that, looking back to where Vince kind of came from and that whole methodology at that time, it just hasn't translated well over to the modern day. And we see the results, especially in the viewership, and people have started to go elsewhere to watch the professional wrestling. That's the thing. And I think just that we need to move on, but we don't need to forget what he's done. We just need to evolve. And I think that just needs, because we're even seeing even this instance with Keith Lee, Triple H feels the exact opposite on this matter. And there's been these other times. I think just whether it be him or somebody just needs to sit down with Vince and just go, you know what? We need to move in another direction. We need to change things, because there has to be some realization there that what they're doing isn't necessarily working. Yeah, we're making money hand over fist, but that's only because of the television deals at this point. We're not bringing in money through other avenues. And I get that, and with it being COVID still, I mean, it's still tricky, right? So obviously, I think maybe making that move now probably isn't the smartest thing, but I think once we get back to some normalcy, I think we need to start making that transition of just saying, you know what, Vince, it's been a hoot, but we need you to step down. It's time.
And not even necessarily that Vince McMahon needs to sell the company to somebody else. Have a restructuring of management. That's all you have to do. Put it out there on the WWE's webpage, on their business whatever page that they have there, that there is a restructuring of management taking place within the company, and that the Vince McMahon role, whatever that title. I don't even know what he's titled there.
Yeah, chairman. I think it's still chairman.
Okay, well, whatever his title is, someone else is taking that title. Yeah. Right? Taking that title and those responsibilities. And then Vince McMahon is going to be, this instead, and he's going to have these responsibilities instead, type of thing, right? So, I mean, play it that way. Play it as a restructuring of management. And then that way, Vince isn't totally gone. We haven't destroyed any type of legacy that Vince McMahon has made or created. It's just management reconstruction. That's it.
See, what I would do, because we're in that situation still of where we're in this weird place of where Vince wants all these characters to kind of take the ball and kind of run with things and reach for that brass ring and blah, 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 whatever you want to call it. But then seemingly when these talents go to kind of do that, they're shot down by either him or the writing staff. So just there's a disconnect there and some confusion because you're telling us to kind of reach for what you're dangling in front of us, but then when we reach for it, then you pull it away, right? So there's that. And what I think you would do with Vince is, who was probably one of the best characters in professional wrestling for the longest time, Karl? Mr. McMahon. The Mr. McMahon character was absolutely fantastic. Some of the stuff that he didn't do when he went into the ring in the Royal Rumble with Batista and Cena, and when he blew up both quads and still sat there and still continued to go with the segment. Who does that? Who does that? Mr. McMahon does that. You bring back the Mr. McMahon character so he can still kind of be involved, and you just have him be Mr. McMahon. But you don't have him controlling the back end of things. You don't have him still in a grill position, tearing down each match and be like, oh no, we need to change this to do it. Just stop that. Just be that character if you still want to be a part of things, and then let your team run the show at this point. That's what I would do.
I agree with that. Yeah. And you talk about the Mr. McMahon character, air quotations. Yeah. That power walk, dude.
Oh man, that's still fit. I still
yeah. When we were growing up, how many people did you see even just walking down the street doing that damn power walk that Vince McMahon does? Oh. Because back then, when we were growing up, Attitude Era, situations going on, professional wrestling was booming, probably at its highest ever, and everybody was either throwing the crotch chops. Yep. Or doing the Vince McMahon power walk, or putting up the too sweet for the NWO, right? It was always a little bit of something, but that power walk, hell, I've even done that power walk.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd even want to see the $1 million giveaway thing again. That still, when he would, having Mr. McMahon, and I think that's the aspect that you kind of embrace, the fact that he's kind of out of touch. You go with that. Having him trying to make phone calls and not realizing that somebody had like a message kind of playing. Dude, that stuff was gold. As much as I like to shit on Vince for some of the stuff he's done, that stuff was fantastic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's the stuff that I miss. That's the stuff that I miss. And I think that they need to go back to that.
Yeah.
And especially in this time of day where we need some comedy in our lives, especially in the WWE. I think that they need to do that, and that's what I'd like to see. Will they do it? Probably not, but maybe if they do, here at Turnbuckle Talk, Karl, Karufel, and I would definitely take credit for the idea if you guys do use it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Damn right.
All right, man. I guess that about wraps it up here for this week. But before we go, do you want to pitch or plug anything before we wrap it up?
Just check out our social media pages. The episodes always go there. If you're already part of the social media pages, which are at TB Talk Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you're already a part of it, tell a friend. Tweet it out, whatever. Use our tag us on there at TB Talk Pod, and just go and tell other people about it. If you are enjoying these video casts, or if you're listening to the podcast on the next day, make sure that you're telling your friends and have them come and visit us as well. And as always, if you are here and watching the program with us, feel free to comment. We love interacting with all of you. Leave some comments in the comment section, and it may even show up on screen here, coming through on the broadcast. So if you want to be interactive with us, please be interactive with us, because we would love to have your opinions on our show as well.
Yep, absolutely. All right, man. I guess that about wraps up here for this week, and we'll see you on the next one.
It's me. It's an R to B to B. As you can tell in the background, we are out celebrating. That is what we do here at hittingthemarks.com. And I invite everyone to continue to tune in to Turnbuckle Talk, but check out all of our other shows we have. You can find that all at hittingthemarks.com.
Run.
fixed.